Mary Beth with Thorngren Studio Arts with our third lesson in From the Garden. Today I've chosen Van Gogh's Sunflowers. We're going to be painting in the style of Van Gogh, very thick in texture, so we'll be focusing on texture and the texture patterns, the patterns within. All right, so I have an 8 by 10 canvas waiting for me to get started, and I've already sketched in the vase. Just a very simple shape, and then I'm going to start in on the sunflowers. I'm not going to focus on the actual petals, but the basic shape of the sunflowers. Oval shape here, another oval there, circular here, circular here, circle, oval, circle, oval, circle, oval, another circle, a circle, and another half of a little oval there. Very simple. You may want to pause and get that down. So essentially I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 circles and ovals on my canvas. Getting ready to start. As you'll remember, we always start from the background, from the top to the bottom. I'm going to use a light blue, pulling out to the middle, with a little bit of white and a little bit of green. Mix those all together. I get this really nice turquoise. I'm keeping that very loaded on my brush, very thick. Remembering that Van Gogh painted in an impasto style where the paint brushes stand off of the canvas. So I'm going to just dab, 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 making little dabs in different directions. No mixing involved. Almost like you're frosting a cake. Dab, dab. And when I start to run out, I can see that the paint is not standing up on the canvas. I'm just gonna maybe hit a little more blue. Mixing it up, keeping it exciting, working around these circular shapes and oval shapes, dabbing, dab. This lesson should be very fun for you because there are really no room for mistakes. We're going to get messy. Dab, dab. Working around, paying attention to some of the negative places. Negative being the area around the positive. Positive is our positive shape is the sunflower and the vase. This background is our negative. Very textured. Blue down here. And you can go back in with a little blue or white. I've painted all the way down to the line of the table. I don't want you to be all bogged down of getting that a perfectly straight line because his actually isn't. So just right down to that part, and that line is lining up just about a little less than halfway of the vase. And I've got that circular line there, which we'll work in later. So I've got this green. I'm going to pull that off of my brush. I'm using a small brush. Not too small, just maybe medium. Pulling that off before I put it in the water. Making sure it runs clean on my paper towel. Okay. Now I'm going to, I've laid my palette out according to the manner in which I'm applying on the canvas. So I have the blue, the white, the green. Now I'm heading into the yellow. I'm going to pull that out. A little bit of burnt sienna and some white. Mixing that together. I'm going to put in a little more yellow. And I get that exact vibrant table color. And these strokes are going horizontally. Again, I'm leaving the paint on the canvas thick, standing off the canvas, just like Van Gogh. It starts to be flat. I know I need more paint. Not a lot of water. We're not using a lot of, he painted in acrylic, so he was able to get a more of a texture with acrylic, but not a lot of water we're using. Dab, horizontal dabs. I'm gonna add a little more burnt sienna as I head toward the back here. Integrated. Now I still have a lot of this yellow, brown, and white. I'm going to add more white, mix that, and go into the bottom of the vase. Again, very textured. Painting horizontal strokes, more of a curvy linear stroke, more rounded, like the shape of the vase. Now I'm going to head to the top of the vase, adding more back into that yellow-brown. This is so quick and easy, you'll be so surprised how well you'll do. Painting the direction, keeping those heavy-handed strokes up into the top here. Okay. Now we're going to head into the sunflower, still using that yellow-brown mixture. I'm going to add a little more yellow. The sad thing about Van Gogh's paintings over time, they don't appear as yellow as they did when he painted them. So they were a lot more vibrant than what you see in the museums today. So now I can work in some of these strokes of the petals. And the nice thing that I have this mixture of brown and yellow on my brush, it's giving these petals a feeling of depth. My objective is to get all the white covered and then go back into my detail piece and give it a little more drama with the lights and darks. Again, I like to have a picture reference and the actual reference of the sunflower if I need to get in close and really understand what I'm doing instead of just looking at it on the flat plane. Just concerned about getting the yellow pieces. Yellow sunflowers. And don't be so worried about how this background is blending in. That's perfectly fine for our first go around, because then we're going to go back into it once it dries and give a little more, another layer. Van Gogh had 5 in this series of sunflowers, 5 large canvases, and in each one he showed or symbolized the death and the way that life and the death, you know, he painted dead flowers. I mean, these brown ones are decaying there. And then you've got the nice vibrant ones. So that burnt sienna is going to come into play on these here. Even some that haven't even bloomed yet, he's got the green. So as you can see, I've started adding a little more burnt sienna, the brown, as I start showing the ones that have aged, and then I can use that in the center pieces here. Ones that are facing forward, and then the ones that are facing toward the side, those were the oval shaped ones. A little bit of touch there. Here, just around. Okay, now I'm gonna go, I still haven't even cleaned my brush. This is gonna be so easy just to, I'm going back in, I've got yellow on there. I'm going back into the green and a little bit of burnt sienna. Working on some of these on the side that haven't even bloomed yet. Just plopping the thick layers where I see them. See the colors. Add the stems. You might want to switch to a smaller brush. That's what I'm going to do. And get a thinner stem. Here. One stroke. A little more yellow into that green with some of these leaves that are coming off here. Almost got all my white covered. And at that point, I will switch the view and Adrienne will give you another option. She's going to paint the version that he did all in yellow, all in goldens. Almost got all my, and then you can see our finished pieces. And back into that burnt sienna. got a thin brush, and I'm going to really take off a little bit of paint so I can get a nice good line. And whenever I want to do line work, I make sure that it's a little more fluid, not so thick, a little more like pudding. I give it a little more water. And this is a angled brush. It's really great for lining. And I'm going to outline. I'm not worried about exactness. If you look closely, he wasn't either. Look at that. Okay, and then on the bottom, gonna need a little more. Okay. And then this middle piece here. So, okay, oops, I got a little piece there that I need to. You know, Van Gogh never sold a painting in his whole lifetime. And every time I visit his works, I always wonder what he must, if he knew how popular he is today. I can just visualize this smile on the old guy's face. I'm gonna add a little white here for this reflection on the vase. I almost said vase. All right, so I've got most of my pieces covered, good enough for me to start in on my details. And there you have it. Thank you.